You did not upgrade anything. Same groceries, same rent, same car. The bill went up anyway. Same groceries, 26% more expensive. That is not a choice. That is the math. Same tank of gas, 28% more at the pump. Same apartment, same landlord. $240 more per month than 4 years ago. The average household spends $14,500 more per year for the exact same life. Same home, same usage. Energy bill up 37%. Same car, same clean record. Car insurance up 50% since 2020. Same restaurant, same order, up 31% since the last time prices felt normal. Wages went up 19%. Costs went up 30%. That gap is where your money went. Same employer, same plan. Health insurance up 24% since 2020. Nothing changed. Everything costs more. That is not inflation anymore. That is your new normal. In the next 10 minutes, here is exactly where every extra dollar went, and the categories where you can actually take some of it back. Look at that number, $14,500 more per year. Not upgrades, not new subscriptions, the same groceries, the same rent, the same utilities. Just at 2026 prices instead of 2020 prices. In 2020, the average household spent $63,036. In 2024, $77,535. That $14,499 gap is not lifestyle inflation. The items did not change, the prices did. Groceries up 26% since 2020. Eggs up 97%. Beef up 41%. A family spending $700 per month on groceries in 2020 now spends $882 for the exact same cart. Median rent rose $100 per month nationally from 2020 to 2024, per the Census Bureau. In high-cost metros, the gap is far wider. Same apartment, hundreds more per month. Gas averaged $2.17 per gallon in 2020. The 2026 average, $3.20 to $3.80. For a household driving 15,000 miles per year, that adds $550 to $860 annually to the same driving routine. Auto insurance up 50% since 2020. A driver paying $1,200 per year in 2020 now pays $1,800. Same car, same clean record. Repair and medical costs across the whole system drove the rate up. Electricity up 37%, natural gas up 29%, water up 18%. A household spending $300 per month on utilities in 2020 now pays $395 for the same usage. $1,140 more per year without changing a single habit. Housing leads, $3,800 more per year. Transportation, $2,600. Food, $2,300. Insurance, $1,800. That is already $11,500 before healthcare and utilities. Every bar is a category the average household cannot opt out of. Employer health insurance premiums rose 24% from 2020 to 2026, per KFF. Single coverage employee share went from $1,250 to $2,400 per year. Family coverage, from $5,600 to $8,900. Same job, very different annual cost. Food away from home up 31% since 2020. A household spending $400 per month dining out now spends $524 for the same meals. $1,488 more per year. Same Friday night routine, higher bill. Childcare rose 41% from 2020 to 2026, from $10,600 to nearly $15,000 per year. That one category added $4,400 to the annual cost of the same family routine. If you want the real numbers behind the headlines, subscribe to the Data Desk and hit the bell. Stay with me. Part 3 has the categories where you can claw back the most money with the least disruption to your life. Wages rose 19% from 2020 to 2026. Costs rose 30%. That 11-point gap is why 51% of Americans are paycheck to paycheck, despite earning more than they did 4 years ago. The bottom income quintile spends 73% of income on housing, transportation, and food. When those three rose 30%, it consumed nearly their entire financial margin. The $14,500 increase hits a $40,000 income household far harder than an $80,000 one. These prices are not going back down. They settle at the new level. Part 2 shows which categories are still climbing in 2026, which have stabilized, and where costs are headed for the next 2 years. Look at those lines. Auto insurance at the top, up 50%. Energy close behind at 37%. The overall CPI line sits at the bottom at 22%. Most of what households actually spend money on rose faster than the headline inflation number ever showed. The CPI headline number is an average across everything Americans buy, including things that got cheaper, like televisions and computers. Most households spend very little on electronics and a lot on groceries. The felt inflation is always higher than the headline for most budgets. Housing is still climbing. Rents rose 2 to 3% year over year in 2025 and 2026, per Redfin. For the 44 million American renter households, shelter costs have not stabilized. The line keeps moving up. Grocery inflation has a new accelerant in 2026. Tariffs on imported coffee, cocoa, tropical fruits, and some seafood are driving above-trend increases. Groceries had started to stabilize in 2024. The tariff impact reopened the category with fresh increases on top of the already elevated base. Vehicle maintenance is up 30% since 2020. More electronics in modern vehicles cost more to repair. Labor shortages pushed hourly rates higher. A $500 repair in 2020 now runs $650. The car did not change. The cost of keeping it running did. Home insurance premiums rose 33% from 2020 to 2026 nationally. In Florida, California, and Louisiana, the increases are far steeper. Same house, same coverage. The risk profile of the zip code changed the premium. Subscriptions are smaller but visible. Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, and Disney Plus all raised prices between 2020 and 2026. A household with 4 services paid $40 per month in 2020. The same services now run $65 to $75, up 60 to 85% for entertainment that has not materially improved. Look at that chart. Housing takes the biggest slice, 26 cents of every extra dollar. Transportation, 18 cents. Food, 16 cents. Those 3 categories alone account for 60% of the entire $14,500 increase. If your housing cost is fixed, the math looks very different. The one category that did not rise for pre-2022 homeowners is housing. A mortgage locked at 3% in 2019 carries the same payment today. That is why homeowners who bought early feel less squeezed than renters. Their largest expense is frozen. Renters have no equivalent protection. Every lease renewal is a repricing event. 44 million American renter households face that every 12 months. Over 5 years of 3 to 8% annual increases, the gap between renter and locked-in homeowner costs widens dramatically. First-time independent budgeters in 2026 are building from a cost base 30% higher than 2020. The budget advice their parents gave them, based on 2018 or 2019 prices, is not wrong in principle. It is just wrong in dollar amount for every single line item. How many of these categories hit your budget the hardest? Housing, food, or insurance? Drop H, F, or I in the comments. The answer varies a lot by where you live and your situation. Part 3 has the category by category breakdown of what the data shows is actually controllable and where the best returns are. 65% of the extra $14,500 sits in categories most households cannot easily change: rent, utilities base rate, insurance, healthcare. The inner ring is what you can actually move, about $5,000 per year. That is where the work happens. Groceries up 26%, but store brand switching in 5 categories saves $400 to $600 per year. Dairy, canned goods, OTC medication, cereal, cleaning products. No quality difference, one habit change. Electricity up 37%, but time of use plans save $200 to $400 per year by shifting dishwashers, dryers, and laundry after 9 p.m. The rate is not controllable. When you use the power is. Auto insurance up 50%, but shopping at renewal saves $400 to $700 per year on average. The premium increased industry-wide. Where you place it did not have to. Food away from home up 31%. Cutting 2 restaurant meals per week saves $1,800 to $3,000 per year. Same nutrition, same time in the kitchen as one longer Sunday session. Subscriptions up 60 to 85%, but a 30-minute audit finds $40 to $60 per month in unused services. Canceling them recovers $500 to $700 per year immediately with no lifestyle change. For households with childcare costs, the Dependent Care FSA shelters $7,500 from taxes. At 22%, that saves $1,650 per year. It does not lower the $15,000 bill, but it changes how much pre-tax income actually leaves the household. 2020, $63,036. Supply chain shock in 2021. CPI peaked at 9.1% in 2022. Prices cooled in 2023 but never reversed. $77,535 by 2024. Tariffs reopened grocery inflation in 2026, on top of an already elevated base. Standard savings account, 0.5% APY. High yield, 4.5%. On $10,000 saved, that is $400 more per year for one account switch. It does not beat inflation, but it narrows the gap on every dollar sitting idle. Most employer benefits portals have options that directly offset inflation. FSA for healthcare, Dependent Care FSA for childcare, commuter benefits for transport. Most employees never open the portal outside of open enrollment. Most never use all three. Store brands, $400 to $600. Insurance shopping, $400 to $700. Cut 2 restaurant meals per week, $1,800 to $3,000. Subscription audit, $500 to $700. Time of use plan, $200 to $400. Combined, $3,300 to $5,400 per year. Start with 1. 65% is not controllable. The 35% you can move adds up to $3,300 to $5,400 using the 5 moves. That does not erase $14,500, but it closes a meaningful share without changing how you actually live. Rent is mostly uncontrollable, but not entirely. Tenants who negotiate at renewal, offer early signing, or take minor repairs in exchange for flat rent sometimes hold the line for one cycle. It costs nothing to ask. Location is the highest impact single move available to households with flexibility. Moving from a high-cost to a mid-cost city saves $500 to $1,500 per month in housing alone, $6,000 to $18,000 per year for the exact same square footage. The fastest path to closing the gap is income. A 10% raise on a $70,000 salary adds $7,000 per year. 70% of workers who asked for a raise in 2026 got one, per LinkedIn. Only 37% asked. Asking costs nothing. The same life costs $14,500 more per year. Prices are not going back, but $3,300 to $5,400 of that is recoverable. Which category hits your budget hardest right now? Drop it in the comments, and we will see you in the next data file.